Did you know that children can learn to read in two languages at once, even if those languages are completely different? While this may seem overwhelming, many families around the world raise bilingual or even multilingual readers. Today, we'll dive into how you can teach your child to read in two languages, whether those languages are similar or completely distinct, and the strategies to make this a fun and rewarding experience for both you and your child. Start with understanding the types of languages. One of the first things to consider is the kind of language you're teaching your child to read. Different languages have different systems, which means they require different strategies. For example, alphabetic languages like English and Spanish rely on letter-sound relationships. On the other hand, logographic languages like Chinese are based on visual characters that represent words or ideas. The difference means that teaching a child to read in two languages could look quite different depending on the languages in question. But don't worry, it's absolutely possible, and we're going to talk about how. Simultaneous or sequential, the big decision. Another question many parents face is whether to teach both languages at the same time or one after the other. Now, there is no one-size-fits-all answer here. It depends on your family's goals, your child's exposure to each language, and how confident you feel teaching them. Research suggests that children who are exposed to two languages simultaneously at a young age can successfully become biliterate in the same way. One study in 2012 found that bilingual children, even when learning two languages concurrently, don't get confused. In fact, their cognitive flexibility increases. So if your child is hearing both languages daily, go ahead and introduce reading in both too. If you're worried about mixing up letters and symbols, rest assured that with consistent practice, kids learn to differentiate between languages quite naturally. Develop pre-reading skills in both languages. Whether you choose simultaneous or sequential learning, it's essential to build pre-reading skills in both languages early on. This can include things like phonemic awareness, that's hearing and recognizing sounds, vocabulary building, letter recognition in alphabetic languages, exposure to print, books, signs, labels in both languages. Create a rich print environment in both languages. This brings us to an essential tip. Surround your child with print in both languages. This could be books, flashcards, labels on household items, or even games. Remember, exposure is key. In our home, we have bilingual books that Camila loves. And let me tell you, nothing beats the excitement on her face than when she recognizes a word in both English and Spanish. It reinforces her confidence in both languages. If you're looking for other helpful tools, Gufino's bilingual flashcards are great for building vocabulary in various topics like animals, numbers, and colors. They're simple but effective, and they really help Camila strengthen her vocabulary. Read aloud in both languages. Reading aloud is one of the most powerful things you can do to develop literacy. Whether you're reading a bedtime story or pointing out words on a sign during your walk, you're showing your child how language works in real life. In bilingual households, it's even better to alternate between languages. You could read a book in Spanish and then another in English, or you could read a bilingual book. Reading aloud supports listening skills and helps kids make connections between spoken language and written words. Use bilingual books and resources. Speaking of bilingual books, these can be incredibly helpful tools. For younger children, sound books can introduce rhythm and familiarity with both languages. One of my favorites is Gufino's Mexican Adventure Soundbook. It reinforces language learning through music and storytelling, and it's a fun, cultural way to help Camila develop early literacy skills while learning about our heritage. Don't compare progress in each language. It's natural to want to track your child's progress, but keep in mind that development in one language might not mirror development in the other. For example, your child might recognize more words in one language simply because they hear that language more. That's okay. What matters is that they're progressing in both languages over time. According to one study, literacy skills in one language can transfer to another. So if your child becomes proficient in reading one language, they'll likely pick up skills faster in the second language, even if they're not exactly at the same level in both right away. Make reading fun, not a chore. We want our kids to love reading, so let's make it an enjoyable experience. Incorporate books that align with your child's interests, whether it's dinosaurs, fairy tales, or stories about your culture. Keep reading times short and sweet, especially if your child is just beginning. You don't want them to feel like reading in 2 languages is an overwhelming task. It should be something they look forward to. Martina and I take turns reading in Spanish and English, using different voices for characters. Camila loves it and often asks for just one more story. Be patient and celebrate small wins. Bilingual literacy is a journey, and it's important to recognize every small step along the way. Celebrate when your child recognizes a letter, sounds out a word, or remembers a story in one of the languages. Encouragement goes a long way in helping them build confidence in their bilingual reading skills. Raising a bilingual reader can be such a fulfilling experience, but it does require a bit of planning and patience. By creating a supportive, print-rich environment and making reading an enjoyable part of your child's daily routine, you can help them thrive in both languages. Remember to celebrate the small victories and have fun with the process. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with other parents who are raising bilingual kids. And as always, let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if there are specific topics you'd like me to cover in the future. Thanks for watching.